Hey, Chrymzon here, and I wanted to do a little video kind of going over and reanalyzing this snake graffiti. And one of the reasons that I felt the need to do this is because I saw a lot of people comparing this snake graffiti to what they would expect to find on a Japanese stylized snake tattoo. Now, it's pretty difficult for me to say that this is definitely Japanese artwork, because serpents are prevalent through pretty much every mythology, religion, and culture throughout the world. So saying that this is de facto Japanese is a pretty bold claim. However, it did start getting me thinking about if this was a Japanese-themed gang, what kind of elements would it be composed of? And I started to think about the connection between the rollers and the Ronin. For those that are unaware, in Saints Row 1, the main story arc revolving around the rollers is that they have this massive shipment that's going to be going out because they have this deal going on with some sort of overseas organization where they're going to be making boatloads of money, and then they're going to take that boatloads of money and start using it to take over Stillwater. Now, what we learn after about 14 years later, after Saints Row 1's initial release, is that this overseas organization that the rollers were selling to ended up being the Ronin. And then you can start to kind of see how there's a lot of similarities between the Ronin and the rollers. Both of them seem to be a very vehicular-centric gang. Now, the Ronin more focus on motorcycles, but they do have some souped-up street racing cars, and the rollers are all about street racing. Plus, the composition of the rollers, their gang is made up of Caucasians and Asian Americans, similar to Donnie. And the Ronin are a Japanese-based gang. And then, after I kind of realized this connection, you can also see that the colors of the snake match up even better now. If the blue is supposed to represent the rollers, then maybe the Ronin are represented from the yellow eye within the snake. As for the rest of the colors, something that I didn't really touch upon in the previous video about the snake, is that I said that the morning star was represented by the pink, but maybe that's not all there is to it, because the morning star are also closely tied to red, pink, and black. The morning star's actual color is supposed to be red, and the Syndicate, which is the criminal organization that's made up of the Luchadors, Deckers, and the Morningstar, all of them together are represented by pink. As far as the black being a color representation for the Morningstar, that is a little bit of a stretch, but all of them do seem to be wearing black suits, and all three colors, red, pink, and black, are present on the snake. At this point, the only color that I'm not completely sure of is the orange scales on the face of the snake. I'm not really sure what that might represent. Some more ideas that make me think that this theme for this gang might be Japanese is that street racing is pretty prevalent in Tokyo, and the street racing scene of Japan has been referenced multiple times through many different types of media. So I think that it would fit in really well with a Japanese-styled gang. At this point, some of you might understand the connection between the rollers and Asian Americans and the Ronin and the Japanese, but what about the Morningstar? They don't seem to be related to Japan in any way, shape, or form. Well, after doing a little bit of digging, you find out that the original concept for the Morningstar is that they were made up of two different gangs. The De Winter twins were supposed to be their own gang, and they were originally going to be Japanese twins, and their gang was going to be called Oiron, and then the Morningstar was supposed to be a completely different, separate gang. So what we might be seeing here is a reimagining of the Oiron and the Morningstar, and how the Oiron might have been like if they stayed Japanese. Now that's some of the core concepts out of the way. One thing that I want to briefly touch upon before I end this video is that blue, pink, and red all in some way are closely tied to Japan. Blue is the color of their soccer or football team, and in Japan, soccer is a very popular sport that is known throughout the country. People are pretty much crazy about it. Pink is possibly representing the sakura trees that grow in Japan, and then the red is probably supposed to be representation of Japan's flag. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this reanalysis of the Snake Gang and how it might have Japanese roots, and I hope to see you all in the next video.